Hello everybody, it's Tommy and welcome back to another video for the Disney Save. Today we are going to be touring my brand new world for the Disney Save 2.25. This is fully available for download currently, linked down below. It's live right now on my Patreon, open to the public. You do not need to be a patron to download it. I'm going to be showing off all the new features, all the new stuff in this version of Willow Creek. If you've seen all of my other tour videos or if you're coming here from other content, you know that I have already done Willow Creek before. This was a full renovation to this world. It needed a ton of updating, and basically the new world for the Disney Save, if you did not know this, is going to be Ravenwood. And Ravenwood required a lot of changes to previously done worlds in order to move some stuff around so that I could eventually get Ravenwood in the way that I wanted it to be. And that meant, first and foremost, starting out with Willow Creek. This was the first world I ever did for the Disney Save, and so there was just so much to touch on, some things to move. Ultimately, the biggest thing I did and the biggest changes you will see in this new version of Willow Creek is I took Beauty and the Beast fully out of this world. There were just a couple of scrap remnants of some Beauty and the Beast things. There was a retail, there was a residential still here. I have removed that. They are going to get put in different locations in the save file, so it shouldn't be gone forever, but I didn't feel like Beauty and the Beast had any place in this world any longer. So I'm going to be showing off everything today. We'll go over all lots, all families, lots and lots of content, super long video. I hope you guys enjoy. We'll open up the household manager here, and you'll see that Willow Creek, and let me just preface this, Willow Creek is now fully complete. I will come back to this world and do little updates to it. I will do minor pack alterations if new packs come out that have some stuff that will help make things look a little better, some clutter, some decor. I will do that. But Willow Creek is never ever getting done again. This is the final version of it. And Willow Creek is Princess and the Frog, Dumbo, The Rescuers, and Disneyland. That's primarily the theming for this world. There is a splash of Pirates of the Caribbean in the hidden lot that's located actually over here right next to 21 Royal. There is a little tree you can go through that gets you to a secret lot, and that is Pirates of the Caribbean themed, but that's a very, very specific thing. Here are the characters for the world: Princess Tiana and her husband, Prince Naveen, the Labuff family, Mama Odie, the Rescuers family, who recently had some additions and changes that we'll be going over today. The Maldonia royal family, they've always existed here, but they are now townies. I did remove their household. Tiana's mother, and then we have the Dumbo Circus household, the Shadow Man, aka Dr. Facilier. Louis, Lawrence, and Ray are all Princess and the Frog themed townies, and then Tia Dalma is that Pirates of the Caribbean character that I mentioned, also a townie. And we will just jump right in to the first household, Princess and the Frog. This is Princess Tiana, Queen. She recently got a huge transformation. If you have seen older versions of the Disney Save, she got all new makeup, hair, all sorts of stuff. I am always updating her. She's one of my favorite characters in the save file. And her husband, Prince Naveen, they are I shouldn't say husband, because according to the save file, they are newly engaged. And that was because the Froggy Bayou over here is a wedding venue that they can get married at. So I felt like you might want to use it for that purpose of them actually getting married. So I put them in the process of planning a wedding. We'll go ahead and jump into their household. This is Tiana and Naveen's brand new New Orleans home, their new mini mansion. This is based on a recreation of the one that is shown on the ride. And I think I was a little bit confusing when I was talking about this in my speed builds, because at one point I was like, yeah, Tiana and Naveen got a new home. You can see it in the ride. And by the ride, I mean Tiana's Bayou Adventure, because that's a newer-ish ride for Disneyland and Disney World. And there is a part on the ride that says, welcome to Tiana and Naveen's home. But then I kind of forgot that there was a sign about that. And so then I really confused myself, and I was wondering if maybe I misremembered. And then I realized later I was definitely right. I had some images that I had taken from my time on the ride, specifically from this back part. Because if you see this little pond that we've got in the back here, the boat is imagine it parked in the pond, and you see the house like that almost. And you see over on the side here, that they have, if I can zoom out, a greenhouse. So you're kind of looking at it from this, and this is really the only angle that you get. And then from there, I had to recreate the front part of the home. And then in one video, I said, yeah, I think I did make the house correctly. And then in another, I was like, maybe I was misinformed, and that's actually the Labbuff Mansion. It's not. It's most definitely their actual home. There is a sign on the ride that says so. So this is officially, canonly, their house. And I love it. I love how it turned out. It's so much better than their old version. It is big, but in a more precise way. Just to give a little look at the floor plan here, the main master bedroom is over here on the right. They have a bathroom here that's attached to an ensuite bathroom. There's one over here. The kitchen on the left, little dining room, bar, entertainment area, and the main living room. And then if you go up one floor, another seating area, entertainment space, library space over here. This is kind of like a little painting room, a den. And there's an additional bedroom here, as well as an additional bathroom. They have a library tucked on this side. And then I kind of called this Naveen's gentleman's room, but it's an entertainment space. I don't know that he necessarily would need or want a gentleman's space, but it is there. And then they do have one more floor. Oh, this is an office. I pictured that Tiana's so busy. She's got so much going on. She runs a full restaurant. She technically in the game like has another job. And then Naveen's so busy, has another job. And she's the leader of the Disney Princesses Club. And you can imagine how much work that is. She needs an office. She needs a space to be able to come up and plan everything and get away a little bit. And there's an additional bathroom space up here. It is sectioned off so that you've got the shower in one and the bathtub in the other, the sink and bath in one. Or you get what I mean. Which is pretty common for older homes, I will say. And this is their house. Look how cute it turned out. Little pops of green. There we go. Little pops of green. Lots of catering to their interests. Being that Naveen obviously loves music. So does Tiana, by the way. Like, she clearly loves dancing and music and all that stuff. And she has this beautiful, massive kitchen. Let's just get down on the level of it because it came out so good. With a built-in pantry, which is very, very extravagant for the time period that this house is based off of, let's be honest. Lots of little details. There are, like, there's one frog in here. If we go over this way. There's one frog in here. I almost felt like they maybe wouldn't keep too many frogs. Like, I wanted the reference, but at the same time, I felt like they would be like, yeah, that's inhumane to keep them in cages. Because they've been that, you know? So they might look at it a little bit differently. But the one is there. They're kind of just for show anyway. You can't really do a ton with the frogs. And they have a spectacular relationship. They are engaged. They absolutely adore one another. They're super attracted to one another. Oh, MC Command Center. Amazing compatibility, attracted. They are a super fun, lovey couple to play with. I will jump into cast in a second so that you guys can see some of the new outfits that I gave both of them. But predominantly Tiana, she's got some new dresses. Her new dress here, this green one that you're seeing, is based off of Dreamlight Valley, of course. But I realized that Dreamlight Valley is actually taking that dress from the final scene of the movie in the restaurant. She wears that green dress, which I never noticed. And we don't have anything like exactly like it, but we definitely have something kind of relative. And important to note, Prince Naveen, leader of the Disney Princes Club. These are some of the only ones that we have right now in-game. Shang, Prince Adam, Eric, and Aladdin. With more to come, definitely, in the future. And just so you guys can check out their backyard and their greenhouse. Very pretty. I may be doing some updating to this shortly because of the fairies pack. It looks like the fairies pack is going to be coming with some like gardening plots that can maybe sit on tables, which back when I did this build, I kind of complained about. So a lot of this is decorative, and then you can access like some of the gardening over here. And then I added this one just so that you can functionally use it like for Tiana to grow her own herbs and spices. And that was something that was depicted on Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which is why I decided it was so important, because she grows, she gardens, she makes stuff for her restaurant, for her ingredients, for all that. So obviously, I don't know why I never thought of that for her, but I wanted to bring that into her character a little bit more. Look at their house at night. So beautiful and stunning. I did a ton of work when it comes to like renovating this world to make it look a little older, a little bit more appropriate for the time period. Aging the lights, yellowing down some things. Obviously, fully functional pond and everything back here with the little fireflies and the frog references around. And from the front, still gorge, absolutely so pretty. I will just mention that there's like a little fence thing issue up here. It's a bug in the game. I can't change it. I can't fix it. It's not a mistake. The game thinks that there's a fence there. I don't know how to fix that. I've tried a billion things. And we'll be visiting Tiana's palace later. That is her restaurant. They're learning all sorts about each other as they hang out here. Now, just in case this is your first time ever seeing the Disney save, I'll go over my characters here a little bit. I do put in Soul's Journey. All of the Soul's Journeys have been done for all Willow Creek characters, including Townies. In some of my older worlds, they might be missing. I'm slowly updating them. It's a bit of a process. Obviously, Queen Tiana, Master Chef aspiration. She also is a celebrity chef, like technically in the save, so she has a job, but she also runs and owns Tiana's palace. So you could like fire her from this job if it's too much, but I wanted the placeholder there, and I feel like it makes a lot of sense. High skills. She's very well developed. She does have her mother in the save file. We'll be visiting her later. And she is going to have some relationships and things with, like, Disney princesses just because they're all in the same club together. But ideally, characters will only really know, by default, characters that they should know. And occasionally someone will slip through that is not true of, but I try my best to wean them out when I can. She's got some additional traits and things that just make her, like, super good at cooking. And recently added denial grief. A little bit of, like, not tending to your emotions and dealing with grief, which isn't necessarily depicted in the movie, but I feel like she does have a little bit of an avoidant attachment style where she focuses very much on herself and her ambitions as a way of grieving. So I kind of threw that in there as a nod to that. And then all of this stuff is done. Milestones are always put in depending on the character. If something is available, meeting Naveen, falling in love with Naveen, having a job at Duke's Cafe, and then leaving that job at Duke's Cafe. First loss, her father. She is also a celebrity. All Disney princesses and princes in the save by default are 5-star celebrities. And I do turn like their fame shine and stuff off, but it's there. What else? That might be it. Oh, they're in a movie club. Obviously, we have the Disney Princess and the Frog movie club. Charlotte Labuff, Naveen, Dr. Anton, which is Dr. Facilier, Mama Odie, Louis Ray, and Lawrence, which I think actually is all of the Princess and the Frog characters. So if you're ever looking for the different clubs, just hit this little toggle here, and you will see you can switch between them. She is the leader of this one and this one. Busy, busy girl. And for Naveen, I think he's just, yeah, he's got the same thing going on. 2 clubs there. He needs to use the bathroom. We'll fix that. Naveen is a little bit of a party animal, which I think would carry over into even, like, his marriage and things. He likes to party. He likes to go out. He likes to have fun. He loves music. And I put him in the restaurant raider, like, what is it called? A food critic career. I felt like that was his way of, or my way of putting him into the restaurant scene without making him a waiter, which you can't really do in the save file anyway. So that's why he is that. And I'm going to say this a few times throughout the video, but whenever you see something that you don't like or you don't agree with and you're like, why did you put that in? I don't know. I'm just, I'm being creative. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of moving pieces. I try my best to be as accurate as possible and really think everything through. But at the end of the day, if you don't like something, just take it, change it, move them out of the career, put them in a different career, add some characters to the household, change some things. I really encourage mixing and matching. A lot of people make original characters and then put them into the world and do this like Storybook, Once Upon a Time style, where you kind of invest yourself in the stories of the characters, and that way sometimes you play through the character storylines it's really whatever you want to do. It's totally up to you. Now, we will move on from this household, but important to mention, right now, everything that you're seeing is live and on the gallery. So if you see something in today's video and you're like, I can't download the whole Disney save, my computer can't run it, which this is a very intensive save file. This is a CC mod-free save file. You don't need any mods or custom content in order to download it. But you probably need a really strong computer. I do really heavy builds. There's a lot going on here, but if you're like, wow, I like this house, you can just download the house. It's called Down in New Orleans. Everything is here. Everything's already put in. It's the exact same house. And my gallery ID is TomilynYT on the gallery. You can also search by hashtag and do hashtag the Disney save, and you're going to find everything that I have available, with most things being exactly as they are in the save file. There are some little tiny changes, which I'm going to show later and explain later why that is the case. Now let's go to the household next door that you might see in the back there. Look at that big, beautiful mansion. Even bigger and more beautiful, let's be honest, than Tiana and Naveen's mansion over there. The Labbuff Mansion. Same neighborhood over here in Sage Estates, but the larger mansion, the Labuff family. Big Daddy Labuff, his daughter Charlotte Labuff, and their 2 pets. Their names are escaping me at this particular moment. I think the dog's name is Stella, but the cat I do not remember. And they are a obviously very, very rich, important, integral family to Willow Creek. But I will say, maybe not the most important anymore, considering that a literal prince and princess live here. So that would be an interesting dynamic to play out, but we'll go ahead and check them out. Now, the Labbuff Mansion is huge, okay? If you download it from the gallery and you're like, yeah, my game crashed, I'm so sorry. Your computer can't run it. I am so sorry, because I wish I could have done it less. I wish it could be smaller, but it's so beautiful. Wait till you see this. Wait till you see this. The Labbuff Mansion in all its glory and beauty. Way too big for the 2 Sims that live here, but the parties, the festivities, the balls, the dances that they must do and run here. It's got the whole backyard set up, stage, everything, gazebo, garden, you name it, they have it. Now, what you're going to have to do when you load into this lot, first and foremost, take poor Stella to the vet. Okay, because I take her to the vet all the time and she gets sick again. If someone can tell me how to fix that, thank you. But do that first for poor Stella. Okay, this is absolutely, it's big and beautiful, and I say in jest that if your computer can't run it, I do feel bad. But when you see this, you just know. You're like, yeah, I couldn't have done it any other way. It had to be done in this like extravagant capacity, this way too many rooms and spaces capacity. And the old version of the mansion, because if you are familiar, I have built this mansion before, it just was not as elegant as this one is. And this one has a bunch of new packs, and it just turned out so beautiful. So I'll give you the light tour. Little entryway here, moving in, and a lot of similar vibes and elements as Princess Tiana's home, but they have more lighter wood tones, creamy gold, that southern, very specific, like elegant sort of look, detailed, ornate. Over here, huge dining room, fireplace. Doesn't this look like a little picture of Eli Labuff, like younger? Yes, it does. So that's perfect. Put that in. And then off to the side here, their kitchen. Nothing too extravagant other than these new pieces from Life and Death that are very nice, polished. You can also get in here obviously through like the door in the hallway. If you go the other way, 2 bathrooms, identical. I can imagine, especially because on the edge here, I did a ballroom. And I felt like if you had a ball and you had this party and all these people come over, you would want a bathroom immediately there for people to freshen up or whatever. So this is definitely supposed to be the indoor entertainment space and or a ballroom. And if you think about them constantly doing like parties and festivities here, this might be something that is for indoor, like if it rains. Now this red room that obviously Charlotte is currently hanging out in, but that's not really the intention. I pictured this as a gentleman's room that Eli might have people come into. Meetings, business meetings, friends, social gatherings, but more private, and especially of the time period, although these were sort of getting phased out in this time as like what I read, it still would be appropriate, especially for like upper class. So a different room idea than, I don't know, what you would standardly see in a home like this. They have the space, essentially. And then this is the main living room. There is supposed to be, just so you guys know, the life and death portrait photo here. It like generates a photo from the household, and it causes issues when you upload to the gallery. So if you have that in any of your houses, just so you know, that frame causes issues and crashing. So I had to get rid of it, but it's supposed to be there if you want to pop it in. And then moving upstairs, just pan out to the back real quick because you can see you can get to the back from there. Moving upstairs, this is going to be most of your bedroom. So obviously we've got the big, beautiful hallway here with the intertwined stairs and all that. If you go all the way around to the side, this is Eli Labuff's room. He has his own balcony. He has a desk in here to do business work. I feel like he would be busy. And he has his own bathroom, although on the much smaller side. But look at his little balcony he could come out on in his garden and view everything, view the world, view the city he owns, basically. And then Charlotte Labuff's bedroom. This is a movie recreation. We don't get to see too much of this mansion in the movie as far as the interior goes, but we do get to see the backyard, Charlotte Labuff's room, and then Naveen stays here temporarily. And it actually, according to the film, looks like he's staying in some kind of a guest house that's on the property but outside. I didn't include that, obviously, but this bedroom over here is based on that space that is shown. And that's why it's larger. It's got the full fireplace and everything in here and a bed. It's supposed to be a guest suite, but like a very extravagant guest suite. But anyway, back to Charlotte's room. She's got some of her princess dresses on display. She is a little bit more of a childish sim. She might even have a childish trait. We'll check in a second. And she loves makeup. She loves fashion. She loves princesses and castles. And she still has some toys and some things in her room from when she was younger. Because we do get to see two versions of her room, like a younger Lottie Labuff and then an older one. And so I kept remnants of her younger version in here. Like, she collects dolls. So these are some of the dolls that we have available in the game. Kept those and some toys. Some of that, what is it called? The circus kit. And on her desk over here, her little nightstand, the Princess Plumbob Castle, which might be the book that Eudora is reading them in the beginning of the film. Some of her dresses, and then she has her own ensuite, but she got the room with the bigger bathroom. Because of course she did. You feel? She also has a balcony, and her balcony has its own little table outside that's pink and girly, and it's got flowers, where her girls and her friends can come over and sit and have tea. Naveen would be across the hall. And then this over here ended up being like a conservatory, if you will. Little indoor garden, some seating. Can you imagine how humid this would be? I'm just thinking it's so hot in London right now. And I am imagining the moisture in the air. But it's pretty, right? Like, definitely something that they would have. And then there's an additional outdoor patio space as we transition into the morning. Thank goodness. Out here, there is one more floor. Pop up real quick. And I imagine a lot of this floor is going to be like for Eli Labuff, but there's also, this is for guests, this is for if you want to hire a butler, if you want to hire a maid, there's a butler suite, a maid suite. There is an additional bathroom up here for them if you wanted that. There is more seating, more of like a general living room area for any maid staff that lives here. And there's also a library on this floor. And then off the library is another dedicated office space. And I catered this very much to Big Daddy, again, with like maybe some of the beverages sitting around and little trophies and little awards and things like that. Their home is definitely not as lived in and intentional as the other, as like Tiana and Naveen's home is, but that's definitely done on purpose. It's almost staged. It's almost like out of a magazine. And I do think that they would have a maid, a butler, but I didn't hire them right now because I've been having a lot of issues with that. So that's something I'm going to touch on like later in the life of the Disney save. But if it doesn't bother you that a random sim shows up and is like their butler, then go ahead. Put that in now. Now we'll take a look at their characters. Big Daddy Labuff, starving to death over here. Let me just help him out a little bit. Just so you guys know, by default in the Disney save, autonomy is off. So that's why they're standing around a lot of the times. And I encourage you to turn it on if you would like the actual liveliness and people moving around. I can't have them moving around when I need them to like not do anything and not break anything when I'm showing you guys the save file. So he has one of the newer aspirations, the 5-star property owner. I always pictured that he would be a property owner of some kind. And so when they added that in, I think it's from For Rent, he can now maybe own, run multiple properties, be a little bit of a businessy landlord situation. I do imagine that that's how he would be. And that was always the intention. So that's cool. That's new for him. And then I believe he's in the business's career. So he's in the angel investor part of that career right now. I think that's part of the business career. What else do we have? He tends to have skills that like you'll just see that he grew a skill in cooking, but he's not intended to have stuff like that. I don't think he would cook very often. Does that make sense? Like, he's not supposed to have cooking, cleaning, anything that's like super labor intensive. Charlotte LaBuff's mom never gets mentioned, but I have a feeling she made the meals before whatever happened to her happened, or he's always had maids around. I don't know, but I try to put little things like that into their character. Entrepreneurial, shrewd, and some of them have their aspirations completed, some of them don't. You can reset it. Like, if you want to play through it, you can, but the intention really is that you can find a sim to play through basically anything in the game with that you want to. So Eli Labuff is not a sim that you necessarily would play that aspiration with, but I gave him a new one anyway. But if the aspiration is complete, that's what I mean. You just go find another one. There's another sim in the save somewhere that has the aspiration set as like brand new. And then what else? I don't know if there's anything else I want to say. Oh, he's supposed to be like a local celebrity, so he does have some fame. It's not as big. Yeah, he's a 3-star in comparison to, the Disney princesses and princes of the save. But he is depicted as like very important and big in the story, so I had to give him a little bit of something. Now, Charlotte. Where is she? Let's bring her up to her bedroom, because I just feel like she wouldn't even go in that room. To be honest, you could lock the door if you wanted. Not sleep. Well, we can show you the outfit that she changes into. So Charlotte is trying to make it as an actress. So she's like very at the beginning, and that's what I was mentioning earlier. So if you wanted to play the acting career with someone who has never really even dabbled in it, like you want to try the career, she is one that you could do that with. She is an uncredited extra, which means she's just like at the very beginning of it all. And I feel like that might be the natural progression of her character. Like, she might want to get into fame in some regard, but she also wants a soulmate. Like, she's very much depicted as someone that wants to find her Prince Charming, and she does like the status and the wealth of like a prince specifically. Not a bad thing, but that's just what she wants. So she wants a soulmate, but like probably a rich one at that, like a nice fancy one. And I'm so glad I had her change really quickly there into her nightwear, because that's a new outfit for her. And not a ton of the Willow Creek characters got outfit updates. Tiana did, and then she got that one outfit, and I think the rest of them maybe didn't get so much in terms of like new clothing, but that's a newer dress that I think comes from one of the new kits as of me recording this video. And that might be it for her as well. She has a teeny tiny bit of fame. She would be known in her community in that way. And she also lives in one of the famous houses, so I couldn't have her have no fame because she'll get like negative stats. Hopefully that makes sense. Princess and the Frog Club. Should we jump into Create a Sim real fast with these guys? I realized I said I would go into Create a Sim with Tiana and Naveen, and that I didn't, so I will be switching to a clip momentarily that showcases that in a second here. Eli Labuff, honestly, not a lot to share in terms of clothing, because he primarily wears this outfit. He is the business, every day, all day kind of person. One of the little changes between gallery version and download version, like save file download, you can't put Big Daddy on the gallery. So if you download him off of the gallery, his name is Eli. And that is his actual name, by the way. Just so you know. Now, for Charlotte Labuff, I love her. I think she's, like, so sweet and funny. And every time I watch Princess and the Frog, I am reminded how funny she is and, like, how different she is from a lot of Disney characters. This is her primary everyday look. She is a little heavy on the makeup, but I think that that is her vibe. This is another version of a similar look for her. Formal wear based on what she wears in her, like, infamous coming down the staircase scene, although we would like something a little bit more poofy. The Sims just won't give it to us, so there's that as an option. And then if you wanted something with a little bit more volume, like another version of that same look, there's this dress, but it's a base game dress, and it's just not one of my favorites, so I personally don't. I kept it because it's more accurate, but it's kind of ugly. And everything else, she's more, what would you say, like, she's very posh. She likes to make sure she looks a particular way. She's not out of sorts, ever. Warm weather, cold weather. And then Percy is the name of the cat. With their cute little, it almost looks like jeweled, which is definitely the vibe of what they would be doing for their pets. The cat, and then Stella, who's always getting sick. Please, someone save her. Someone help her. Tiana and Naveen in Create-A-Sim. Naveen did recently receive an update to his everyday look. I believe this top in particular is new for him. Yeah, it comes from Cottage Living, and I just determined that it was a little bit more accurate. His clothes were always tough because I want him to have that, like, 1930s style, but it's not something that we have a ton of in-game. I also gave him this as an option, but I hate the sleeves. I hate the way that this looks. I don't like the way it's meshed. So it might actually be more accurate, but I don't like it. So that's there. And little green look, green number, obviously from the Froggy Bayou and wedding scene, maybe. I don't believe he has any new clothing. Something important to note. When it comes to careers, you know how your sim will change into a new outfit before they go to their job? I use MC Command Center to change all of those and make them make sense according to their character, the time period, what they actually would have worn to their job. Depends on what it is. So Naveen has a new career outfit that matches the one that he wears at Tiana's palace, because why wouldn't I do that? And as long as I don't forget, I use MC Command Center to do that, but you don't need MC Command Center installed. It'll just stick, if that makes sense. And then Tiana, she had an update to her last name because we found out from Tiana's Bayou Adventure, the ride, that her last name canonically is Rogers. And so that's there. Eudora's last name also got changed to Rogers. Very cool. New everyday look for her. Much better makeup. Much better toned for her face. It's based off of Disney Dreamlight Valley. So, like, the eye color, the lip color, everything I chose, Dreamlight Valley. They did such a good job bringing her to life in the 3D format, and I had to just copy it, really. And then I gave her this dress and this hair, which it's not perfect, but it is so much better than what she was in before. She has some options, like lots of options. She's beautiful, and she is one of my favorite to style. But we got the kitchen, what's it called? Kitchen kit. Chef Home Hustle kit stuff, something like that. And it came with these little whisk accessories, and I'm like, no one else in the save file is ever going to wear these except her. This is perfect for her, along with this gorgeous dress. Sorry, it keeps freezing. I'm, like, moving my screen around. And this is based on, I think, how she looks potentially on some outfits in Disney World. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then this one, also a shout out to that. She has, like, a look in Disney World that they've been featuring that's more of a modern look for her, different hairstyle. I thought I would give her some options. Green dress. Wish we had something a little better, but it is what it is. Oh, and then I gave her, is it here? No. Let's go to party. That's not party. This is a new look for her. Isn't this stunning? This is based on when Dr. Facilier is showing her, like, her future and what it could be. He puts her in this dress. And so we've got this new one, and it's gorgeous on her. and I saw it and just knew. I had to do like a whole look for it. She, in a perfect situation, would be wearing like one of those feather boas. But we don't have accessories like that, you know. A little CC would help out a whole ton. And I think that's it for new clothes for her. This is her wedding look from the end of the movie, then when they actually get married as human beings. She's got a cute little swimwear. And hot weather. Hot weather is usually going to be the same as their everyday wear because they wear it so frequently that I felt like it was weird. And then there was almost, this is a new outfit for her, there was almost a Princess Tiana Disney Plus TV show. And they had shown some of the artwork that they were going to do for the show. And she was wearing like a colder weather look, if you will. And this is based on that. So that's new for her as well. Continuing, however, with Princess and the Frog, which most of like this back neighborhood section is, and this world primarily is going to be, by the way. Almost all of this, Princess and the Frog, all of this, and one over here. So this is very Princess and the Frog heavy if you're a lover of that movie. The Froggy Bayou. This is a wedding venue, but it's also, if you want it to be, a park or a national park. You can change the lot type and it'll work just the same. And I don't think I've ever visited this in live mode in any of my tour videos. Correct me if I'm wrong. So we're going to go there with Tiana. Here is the Froggy Bayou. This is a wedding venue based on the end scene in Princess and the Frog where they get married as like frogs. And it's supposed to be a chunk of the bayou, but it's set up obviously for the whole wedding format. I want to show it to you guys at night real fast because I honestly feel like that's where it gets done the most justice. With the glowing and all the ponds lit up and everything and all of the little lighting on the candles. And I did all of these lights back here that are hanging bottle lamps with like the little candles in the bottle lamps, can't say bottle. And it's just so pretty. This lot was actually made before we had ponds in The Sims 4. So when ponds were added, a lot of people asked me if I was going to redo it so that these waterways were not pools anymore. And I thought about it. Like I think I went in with the intention that I would do that. But then the more I have played with this lot, the more I feel like it's cool how it is. You could use this as like a secondary swimming venue. You can get into all of the water because it is the lot type that it is, like a wedding venue. Sims don't tend to swim in it anyway. I don't know. I feel like I like it as is. You guys let me know your thoughts. But something I always test when I come here is, are Sims going to swim? Can Sims swim? And they can. And I like that. And I think it's nice. It adds an element to the slot. It adds something to do. Back here in the corner, there is a little cooking area. I thought about like if you had a full wedding here, everything that you would need. So this is where you could possibly prep some food. Over here, there is a covered picnic seating area that you could enjoy some of it. It doesn't have like a cake stand and all those traditional sort of things, but it has everything else that you would need to do the wedding. This is the arch tucked in here. You actually get married. And then all of the seating for your guests. They sit backwards sometimes, but that's just like a game mechanics thing. Like most of the time, if you actually do the wedding and it functions and it runs correctly, they should sit and face the actual wedding location. And yeah, if you want to change this to different types of lots so that it's maybe more useful for what you're doing, it can be a park, it can be a national park, and you don't have to keep it a wedding venue. Most of the time, if I do wedding venues, it is going to be changeable anyway. But as you can see, we do have some Sims spawning here. They're not going to interact with it on a park basis, but that's okay. Same idea, I think. Now for the next slot, it's actually residential. So we're going to switch back over to a different character. Say goodbye to Miss Tiana. I do not believe we will be back with her. Next residential in our bundle of Princess and the Frog, we have Mama Odie. She is an elder sim, solo obviously. She is a spellcaster, very fun, and she leans more in like the potions aspect of spellcasting if you're interested in that. And she lives in a treehouse, a beautiful, it's not just a treehouse, it's actually a abandoned shipwreck that's stuck in a bayou tree. And it's called Blue Skies and Sunshine. I believe that's a lyric from one of her songs. We will go into live mode and check her out. Now you can see a little bit better what I was talking about. This is Blue Skies and Sunshine, the abandoned tree house, boathouse, bayou home. And this has existed in the save file for a while, but I redid some of the trees and plants, and she's in a new neighborhood now. She used to live in the Dumbo neighborhood, and I got her out of there because it didn't fit with the theming ever. And I used to actually hate this house, but now it's a lot better. One of the things I did is I actually replaced the tree on the top, so you'll see when we've got all the walls up here, you can see tree, so you get tree house. Then you go down one level, goodbye tree. And that makes it playable. You can actually see into the boat. And this is her little home. I tried for the life of me to get this to be a tiny home, you guys, but it's just a couple tiles too big with like the roofing tiles, and I couldn't get it to work. It didn't look right, and I couldn't get it to function. She needed the tiles. So unfortunately, I can't have it be like the perks of a tiny home, but it's still obviously very, very small. Her bedroom is tucked up in this little corner here. She's got her dresser. Not much else. There has been some minor renovations to the interior of this, maybe just adding some stuff from the Crystal Creations pack, the Werewolves pack, anything that was like a newer occult pack since I actually created her or her home. I've touched it up a little bit, maybe changed some colors in here as well. And I think I made her kitchen a tile bigger and gave her this table possibly. It's super functional considering the space and everything, considering how much clutter and how much drapery and stuff is in here. And she is, like I mentioned, a little spellcaster. When I do spellcasters in the Disney save, I do all of their trees. This is actually true for all occults. When I do any occult in the Disney save, I do all their trees, I do all of their ranks, and it's all just in my head, like what I think is appropriate. And then she also, I should open actually, they will have their books done as well. So they will have some spells that I feel like are appropriate for their character depending on who they are, what they are, things that kind of correspond to their hobbies, their interests. And I think, if I'm correct, she, has a lot of potions unlocked. And that makes her a little bit unique in the save file. I don't have a ton of spellcasters that are potions heavy, but that is depicted in the film. So it makes sense to have that be for her here. She is obviously in the Princess and the Frog. Where is it? Club. And she knows most of the other characters, even by extension of that. Like, she doesn't really know Lottie Labuff, but because she's in the same club as her, she has to. And I think, let's bust out, how do I do this? Familiars. Summon familiar, yes. She has a familiar. Oh, why can't she do it? Okay, yes. Sorry, she had to be outside. She has a familiar named Juju. And if you remember in the film, she has a snake. So this is my way of paying tribute to that. I know it's not a snake. Like, it's literally a weird frog with a tail. But isn't that kind of funny in its own regard as well? And it was green, and it was like one of the closer options. And I actually don't really use familiars that often because I want them to be a little bit rare in the Disney save. So she's the only one with this familiar out of all my spellcasters. So she has that pretty much as her only companion, but she likes to be alone. She likes living alone. I think I have her house set as a private dwelling. Like, she doesn't want visitors. She doesn't keep company. And yeah, a private dwelling. So random Sims aren't showing up all the time. She doesn't even really want people to like visit her. And I don't blame her for that. And I did redo her pond area down here. Frogs, some lighting. I just minimalized it honestly because it was way too much before. And added some of these waterfalls from the patio kit, one of the newer kits that comes with these. I also had to change the ladder. It wasn't functioning on the older version, and that's why it's really important that if you download my builds off the gallery, it's sometimes when the Sims updates, you're going to get some pathing issues. I'm always fighting the game in terms of trying to keep my builds functional and having to deal with constant updates from the Sims that change little things internally, and then something that was working is now not working. Very frustrating, but please let me know whenever something is not pathing correctly. If you can't get into a house, if you can't move around freely, if there's something like that, please let me know in my Discords, and I will fix it and I will patch it and everyone will be happy. We're not going to spend too much more time with Mama Odie, but we are going to take her to some of the surrounding community lots. These are all no, I misspoke. This one is Princess and the Frog themed. And then over here, this one is Princess and the Frog theme. So I'll take her over to those. And actually, you know what? We'll go over to the one next door because I feel like the vibes are just right here at night. So we're going to be going next door to Mabel Evangelene. This is a brand new lot for the Disney Save. It's a lounge, one of two for Willow Creek. But I feel like because Oasis Springs and Willow Creek in particular, which is based off of New Orleans, Louisiana area, is so important and integral to like the history of music, and it's so important to the movie of like Princess and the Frog, there was potential to do like lots of music based things in this world and have it maybe in a sense be a little repetitive. I don't normally do like two lounges in one world, for example, but there's a scene in the film where Naveen and Tiana are dancing together on a lily pad. And I had this brilliant idea that I could make a cute, romantic little lounge where all of the dance floors are lily pads. So you've got the stage in the center here that is the big lily pad. You gotta hire, unfortunately, because lounges, believe it or not, you have to hire the actual crew. So hire the pianist, hire the singer. Come up here and play music. And then once everyone's playing music, you can get up on the lily pads and dance, and you can actually see them sticking out. I left it here so it's, you know, operational. That's why it's sticking out that way. But if you don't want to hire the musicians for some reason, there are other ways to do music here. There's some tucked away on the trees, turn on, classical, whatever you want. There's a couple of them. There's one there, and there's one hidden here so that the lily pads can be functional. And then you can dance. You can meet some couples. I believe this is a couples hangout, singles hangout. Sorry, singles hangout. You can meet some singles. And the bar here in the back. There are some little nods to Princess and the Frog here. In particular, there's one hidden in the back here. There's a little scene in the movie where they're cutting some mushrooms and making like a pumpkin stew of some kind. So I tucked that away back here. And for all intents and purposes, it's kind of like a park. It's a little bit more scenic. It's based on Princess and the Frog's Bayou specifically. And that scene takes place right before they go to Mama Odie's house, which is why I just felt like it was so perfect that they were right next to one another. So it's a little bit more of a scenic venue or a storytelling venue. You could definitely do a lot here in regards to just carrying some stories forward. It also does have a downstairs, tucked away bathroom required for the lot. And by the way, that's how I made this lot functional. If you do notice all the little lily pads, yeah, you can't walk on those. So I had to duck them into the basement and then raise them up with tool so that they're sitting there, but the game thinks they're under. Does that make sense? And it's based on Ray. It's like a little lot for Ray and Evangelene and all the moons and the stars and his song. And it's such an iconic Disney song now that it needed to be represented in the save file. Most definitely. I love it. I love, love, love. Such a new, like, cute little lot. And we'll also jump over to another brand new lot. We'll just have her go straight over. Not gonna go back to map view this time. Welcome to Tiana's Bayou Adventure, the ride. This is a ride recreation that I made into a pool. You know how I keep mentioning that ride? It has become like such an inspiration for so many changes in the Disney Save recently, but I felt like it was such a perfect backdrop to turn into a pool, because obviously you can't have the ride just be the ride. You can't ride it. Like, I've got the little log flume over here, but you can't do anything with that. So what could it be? Well, a pool. And not just a pool, but imagine you're in the bayou and you want to swim. That's gross, right? That's scary and that's gross. There's so much you don't want to deal with getting in that kind of water. But for a lot like this, it's like, you know kind of a scenario, like the local swimming hole, or I know a section we can go to that is so clean, that is crystal clear, that is beautiful. And I've lived in places like this in my life where like the water around is kind of gross, but if you know this one particular spot, it's really clean and beautiful, and all the locals go there and party at night and do whatever you want to do. So that's what this is supposed to be. It is a part of the bayou, but look how beautiful and like clean And there are some bugs here. I might have done like some bug stickers, but there's no gators. There's no crocodiles. Now, your Sims can actually swim all the way under this house. It is floating above the water, so you will see them come under and swim under and across. But that's okay. It was intentional. And this is a debug piece that's moving, this little waterfall. That's why it's so cool, isn't it? Like, look at that. And it gives this so, like, the vibes of the ride and exactly what I wanted and the animation of it all. It's very nice. You can come and lounge here. Pool things, pool activities. And I like to do this thing where I'll do, like, a separate area. And this is maybe your heated pool or a hot tub of some kind or a kiddie pool. Because you can't really do levels to pools in this game. Be nice if you could, but they're all this deep, so you can't do anything for kids. Not that I recommend bringing too many kids here. I don't know. It feels a little bit more like something for the adults. And then when you queue up for the ride in Disney World, this is kind of the building that you go through because it used to be Splash Mountain. So same building. However, I used this as changing rooms and bathrooms. And that's all they are. They're very simply decorated. Repetitively so as well. Like a lot of them are pretty much just the same. Some of them are changing rooms and then there's no bathroom in them, and then some of them are just actual bathrooms. Something you would want for a pool. And this might even be something that the community has sort of like put together. Like, this building is obviously not in the greatest condition. There's some holes in the ceiling and some cracks in the floor, and it's not the most well kept, but they've brought it back to life and made it so that it's usable for the community and for swimming and for little fun parties and get-togethers. Still working in this back neighborhood here. Obviously, we have something that's not Princess and the Frog. This is the Rescuers household. Newly updated, additional characters, some new outfits. I am going to skip that for now because I kind of want to just stay with Princess and the Frog and like clear out all of that. Then we'll jump back to the Rescuers. So I'm actually going to move on to over here in this trifecta. These are my restaurants for Willow Creek. These are the 3. And they are all Princess and the Frog. These have all existed in the Disney Save before, but they also have all been updated. Primarily, Duke's Cafe received the biggest changes and updates. And I'm not going to go to it in live mode. I'm just going to do the restaurants as like a quick little overview because you guys have honestly seen these at this point. If you've ever watched any of my tour videos, you've seen them. So we'll just stop in real quick. If you needed to see any of the restaurants, it's this one. It just received so many updates and changes. It's basically a brand new build at this point. Not only is it a new build, but it's on a brand new location. This previously was the Maldonia estate, which is Prince Naveen's parents. They used to have a home in Willow Creek. I took it out because it was never really one of my favorite builds. It doesn't need to be here. And when I redesigned this world, it no longer fits. So I was kind of happy to remove it. They will remain in the Disney Save as townies. I probably showed them a little bit earlier in the video. But now Duke's is here. And Duke's is over on this right side. Like, this right building is Duke's Cafe. Before, it was cute. It had diner vibes, but this is an actual one-for-one movie recreation. Like, get down to the level, take a look at it. Cups and plates and stacks of stuff all over. This is so much closer to how it actually looks in the film. And if you rewatch the movie, you will recognize, like, the placement of all of the tables and everything. Like, it's very, very close. And so much better than the previous version that I made. So I'm happier with it, ultimately. And it all aesthetically looks correct according to, like, some of the other Princess and the Frog things that I've done in the Disney Save. Similar wood tones, similar time period, look, and aesthetics and all that. I did change some of the outdoor seating, and we have, like, 2 out here on the front, 2 on the side. And there is still a patio out back. You can still get an outdoor table, but it meant that I removed this outdoor garden section that used to be on the back side of this lot, for the better, honestly, that I removed it. And you'll notice a park. It is a community park. I wanted, especially this neighborhood that has so many lots that are community spaces, I wanted there to be lots of benches and chairs and street lamps and maybe like a little local park, some mailboxes, things that help make it feel like it's retrofitted really well into the community. Now on the left, this is an apartment complex. And because the lot is listed as a restaurant, it doesn't function So keep that in mind. However, if you wanted to use an apartment complex, if you need one, if you want to change this to a rental, then there is one here for you. It's for storytelling. It's for set dressing. It's an optional choice when it comes to this lot. If you would rather have the apartment complex than the diner, then it's a choice. But other than that, I basically just staged it, and I'll show you guys how I did that. So this is like the entryway lobby area, and you can see that there's even one of these like mail things with all of the different apartments mail on them. This is supposed to be an office for the apartment complex where people would be working. And then if you go, well, there's actually one apartment here. All of the apartments have a sign above them kind of indicating that there's like a number attached. And they are all different sizes. So this one, for example, might fit a couple. It's a bit of a larger space. It's got a pretty big bathroom, a very big living room. I tried to keep it down with the furniture count. You can see, like, I didn't go sparse by any means, but it's not heavily decorated. There's curtains, there's the basics. Again, the idea of like staging for a magazine or something. And then upstairs, the hallway here, you can see more signs to indicate different apartments. This one also probably for a couple. Pretty big. Could do a lot with this. And this one over here. Oh wait, are we still in the same? Oh, I'm even confusing myself here. This is an apartment over here. This is an apartment. And then over here, this is an apartment. They vary in sizes, but they can generally fit 2 Sims, at least because of the double bed, if not one. And then upstairs, I believe these are both studios, or like much smaller, considering that this is basically your living room, kitchen, dining, all in one, and then the bathroom. And this one does have its own bedroom, but still a little bit on the smaller side. So this is all here if you wanted it. As for the diner, I did change some of the menu and the outfits. You'll remember this little yellow dress that Princess Tiana wears when she works here. And I had one previously, but this one just looks a lot closer. Then I added some stuff to the menu. The idea is that this is like Southern breakfast, but also just breakfast food in general. And I added a bunch of waffles, like loaded waffles. That's exactly what I was looking for. So we got a new little kitchen appliance that makes it so you can do loaded waffles of certain kinds. And I added a few of those. But you're going to think classic breakfast foods when you come here. Some dessert loaded waffles. And then also the powdered donut in place of the beignet that is served in Duke's in the movie, but is not available in the game. Next door is Tiana's Palace. You know it, you love it, you've probably seen it. Just in case you never have, I will take a peek inside, and I will say I actually did change it. So Dreamlight Valley recently-ish added Tiana's Palace, and they did such a fabulous job of turning the space into something very functional and obviously accurate. Like, it's Disney, come on. So it was one of the best recreations and best references I ever found of Tiana's Palace that I didn't have the first time I made it. So I went ahead and made some changes. There are some differences in like the colors, the pops of gold in here, the different chairs, the tables that are green and based off of her dress. I did always have the stage area. We might possibly get some updates to that in the future if we get different instruments. And I wanted to make sure that the kitchen ended up over on the side, similar to how it is in Disney Dreamlight Valley. It used to be upstairs. And that was always a big complication with this place. I hated that the kitchen was upstairs. Not completely inaccurate. Now that I live in London, I know better that there are places that function that way. But for an American restaurant, that's not very typical. And now we can just have the scaffolding seating up here. Fit some larger parties as well. If you come in and you need a little bit more than 4 for some reason, there's 2 up here. And in the back, I still have the private seating area, just redone and recolored for the new color scheme of this place. I ran it a few times in this new version of the save file just to make sure everything was running well, and it is a fun little restaurant to play. We'll pop in again to our final restaurant next door on the left here. This is the Crown Jewel, and this is a different version of Tiana's Palace. It's the version that I keep saying this, so I feel like I'm repeating myself. I've gone over this a lot recently, between the tour, between the reno. This is just a second version of Tiana's Palace, but it's supposed to be like Dr. Facilier's version of it. So it's not as nice. It looks as nice. Like when you look at it, you're like, wow, pretty. And it is pretty, but it's not run as well. The menu's not as cool. It's not as inspired as Tiana's. It's the newest, hottest restaurant in town, so it opens up and everyone's really excited about it. Look at this new, shiny, beautiful ballroom, white, golden restaurant, and then you come here and the food kind of sucks. And that's the restaurant. Maybe it would fail, maybe it would take over Tiana's and like take over the fame of that. But it's essentially, its entire existence is to threaten Tiana's Palace, to create a little drama, to add something else to do. And it is based on the movie. It's a movie recreation because Dr. Facilier shows her this version of her palace. And same building, same vibes, same factory converted restaurant, but in a different layout, different enough that you would notice the inspiration, but you definitely would think it's different enough that it's worth like trying to go and visit it. And it got a little bit of updating recently, which is the only reason I'm showing it off, but honestly, not too much. Moving on to a residential. Again, same neighborhood, actually right next to Duke's Cafe. This is Tiana's mother, Eudora Rogers. She is also an elder sim. She lives by herself. She lives in a traditional shotgun Louisiana home. Very cool. Something that existed in the save previously, but I toned it down a little bit. I used to have these two neighborhoods here facing one another with like rows of these houses, which is traditionally how they're built and why I'm so insistent that there needs to be like multiple of them to really depict that. I did something a little different here and sized it down. So we'll go into live mode with her. Basically what I did here, the house on the left is Eudora's home. It's also Princess Tiana's childhood home. And this is a much better, again, movie recreation than it was previously because the previous version didn't have Princess Tiana's bedroom or anything like that. And the home on the right, let me just let Eudora sit down and eat here because she's a starving queen. Grab a serving. The home on the right here is an extra one. And like I keep mentioning, it's so pivotal to know that these homes are traditionally built like almost on top of one another, like very, very slim parameters. I would even go so far as to say that the way I've done this is not close enough. And I just wanted rows of them. Like if we had so much more space, that's what I would do. But I think that this would function really well as a rental. Again, if you are using them, if you're comfortable with them. I probably haven't said this in the video yet today, but I don't put residential rentals from For Rent in the Disney Save right now because there's still bugs and problems with it that they say they're working on. And until they fix it, I probably just won't do it because I'm scared. I'm scared of corruption. I'm scared that it's going to break all of my work and all of my time. So I just don't use them. But you could, if you feel comfortable with it, if you have been using them and they work successfully for you, I'm so happy for you. Go for it, change it, do it. But for now, this is just one residential. And so what I've done actually is this door is locked for everybody. So she never goes over to this house, she never uses it or touches it, and that is obviously intentional. Now, when it comes to the house, got to do the kitchen. The kitchen is shown in the movie, so I tried to pull over like literally everything I could, pots, pans, everything to get this to run and look good and also be accurate. And then they have a little living room. Can you picture the two of them sitting there? Once upon a time, because now she lives alone. This urn is actually his. There's that. And this is her bedroom. She is in the fashion career. She is a little bit of a seamstress. She likes to knit. So she's got a couple of these around. She's got one here and one here. You have to physically put that in your inventory in order to use it. Very annoying. So those are sort of decorative, but the idea is there. And then this is Tiana's childhood bedroom that she eventually just grows up into, and you do see in the film she's got like all these cooking books around. She's got her first footprints over here, like her birth certificate, a little some paintings and some drawings from when she was a kid on the wall that are tucked behind a armoire, a whatever you call this, a vanity, and a little doll and things. So she used to stay in here. I don't see any reason why they would change that if she wants to be able to come and stay and hang out with her mom. And she also had a swing set, or at least I gave her one. And then they've got a bathroom. And then if you wanted to, you could move some of the Princess and the Frog townies into this household and like mush it in with her household, or again, use it as a rental. It's up to you. But basically, this room is very, very lightly themed on Lewis. And so it's like his bedroom. And this one is very lightly themed on Ray. And so you could use it that way, but it's really just there for space. I very often get asked, is there room or space to like put my own characters, do like my original characters, that kind of a thing. So I've been leaving some spaces that are not filled, or give you the option to fill them. And like I mentioned, she actually has one of the knitting aspirations, Lady of the Knits. I don't get to use that one very often. It's a little bit rare, so it's nice to use it on her. And she is in the fashion career, not in the seamstress sort of way, but there's really no career for seamstress in the Sims 4 right now. Eudora is going through it because she did lose her husband, and she still is a little bit like mourny about that. She, obviously, it would not be... You never really get over something like that, but she, sometimes when I play her still, gets little moments of emotion regarding being a widow, and she has blues grief, so she just gets real sad about it sometimes, and I completely understand, and that's like in her lifestyle and milestones. She lost her husband. She's sad on cue, missing them from grieving. See what I mean? And close-knit. I don't use these a ton, these lifestyles. Every once in a while I'll throw one in when I feel like it really, really makes sense. But I feel like her family, Tiana's family, is very close-knit. They have such a really interesting bond that you do not see for all families. So I wanted her to have that because it's just, they're the perfect family to put that into. And she's obviously not famous. She's not in the Princess and the Frog Club because she doesn't fit. You can only do up to 8 Sims. And I always feel like there is going to be one or two that... They're the outliers of their movies. They are not the most important character, although she is, you know, relatively important. She's not the most important. And I actually misspoke earlier. She's an adult sim. I don't know why I thought she was an elder. She's probably not old enough to be an elder according to the movie. I don't know though. You let me know your thoughts. That is going to cover Princess and the Frog for now. As you can see across the way, there is a different lot, but this is actually Rescuers theme. So we're going to jump back to the Rescuers now. Back up to this neighborhood up here. This is the Devil's Bayou. The Devil's Bayou is a broken down, disgusting, dirty steamboat formerly that is now abandoned in the bayou, and no one should be living on it, quite frankly, but Medusa, if you have ever seen The Rescuers, is a nasty villain in the Disney roster, and she stole this poor little orphan girl, Penny, and she has her living here. Very not great scenario, but true to the movie. So we're going to put it in. And I used to have their house in the Disney save, but I had changed it to be a nightclub. Like, it was renovated and updated, and Big Daddy had purchased it and put a ton of money into it. And it now was a celebrity boat nightclub. But I felt like actually turning it back into the residential and adding a couple more characters in the household was going to make it playable and more useful than the nightclub, really. Madame Medusa was always in the save file, but she lived in this very complicated situation of, like, she lived in one of the previous shotgun homes that I had made, actually, that was in the same neighborhood as Eudora. And that meant that she didn't technically live on, like, her actual residential. Now, important to note, Madame Medusa does have another home in New York City. That's going to come up later. I'll show you guys in a little bit. But through the movie, this is primarily where she lives. And so I made the boat home. And I changed it. It's a completely new build at the end of the day. It's now suited to be a residential, I guess you could say, quote unquote. And I added Penny. She's the little girl from the movie. She was not previously in the save file. I also added Melvin. Now, I'm having a bit of an issue right now where, for some reason, the gallery won't let me upload Brutus and Nero. And I tried all sorts of different ways, and it just will not let me do it. So the gallery doesn't have these two. This is currently exclusive to the save file. But if you wanted them, they're little pug dogs with, like, crocodile costumes on, and I just painted them green, so they're nothing, like, completely complicated, but yeah, you can't get them other than the save file right now. I will work on that, but there's nothing I can do when The Sims decides it's going to be difficult. I should actually give you a tour of the house. Not that there's much to look at here. It's more pretty from the outside, to be so honest with you. And if I didn't mention Melvin, he is kind of like Medusa's henchman. He ends up being a good guy by the end of the film, but it doesn't matter. You really can't redeem yourself from this situation. And down here, outside, seating and food for Brutus and Nero. Obviously, they are dogs. And this is the kitchen that you walk into. I guess that makes this functionally the front door. Doesn't really matter, though. Living room. Complete recreation from the movie. Madame Medusa owns and runs a pawn shop and boutique. And she collects jewelry. So that's some of that here. I would imagine it's mostly costume jewelry. And there are pieces of the bow, like things that originally exist because it was a ship formerly. But she's obviously had some pieces brought in here. Like this little couch. What is this? She's obviously had some pieces brought in here. Like this nicer couch and things. If we go upstairs, which the stairs are wrapped around this way. This is Penny's bedroom, which is also shown in the movie. It's not much at all. It's not nice. It's not safe. In fact, a lot of this house is unsafe. Like, look at the little broken railing and the hole in the floor. And she's right next to the former, like, captain's stand and everything. Just not good. Not good at all. Downstairs, this is where Madame Medusa and Melvin sleep. Madame Medusa has her own bedroom. She's got all her goodies. She had a whole bunch of stuff brought here when she decided she was coming down. And she obviously got, like, the captain's quarters or something. She had it all redecorated. Now, the boat's not in good shape no matter what, so there's, like, cracks on the wall, holes in the floor, open and exposed boarding, some tiles and broken stuff like that. It doesn't matter that, like, I tried to cover it, basically. Like, look at her room. You can still see it. You can still see it's in bad shape, but the idea is there. And she is looking for the diamond, and I always forget the name of the diamond. I'm so sorry. But she is actually, like, looking at the land, looking at maps. She does a lot of research into this. She's looking for that diamond. So she's got a little desk area where she can do that. She likes to do her makeup, her hair. She likes fashion. She has a collectibles area. Her room's great. She's so happy she's got everything that she needs. And Melvin does not. Melvin has the bare minimum. I don't even know how she convinced this man to do this with her. I think that she probably told him he would get very rich, and he doesn't. But ultimately, Melvin didn't have a ton of personality, according to the movie anyway, so I made up two things about Melvin. He really, really likes tea, and he likes to fish. And that's it. That's how I've decorated his room. He's also, according to the movie lore, the keeper of the fireworks, so that's why he has a firework in his room. And this is their bathroom. Gross. No one cleans here, as you can imagine. It's fine. Penny's off at school, so unless she comes home, like, very soon here, we're not going to be able to really take a look at her. But we will jump down to Madame Medusa. She recently got a new look, new hair, new dress. This is actually the same white dress that I showed on Tiana earlier, and man, does it look better on her. Like, can you just take a moment for how unflattering this dress is on her, but so much more accurate to the film, and that's always what I'm going for, obviously. I keep saying it. Film accuracy. So I updated her a bit so that she just looks a little bit more proper. Melvin, this is very good. This is a very good recreation, other than, like, the hair is a bit different. And I should mention, actually, Madame Medusa, she wants to be fabulously wealthy. That is her aspiration. She is in the criminal career, so is Melvin. And she's very low skill. Like, she does not have a ton of skills at all. She sucks. Like, let's be so honest. She doesn't have any friends. She has good relationships with her two dogs, and that is pretty much it. She's not a celebrity of any kind. People around town know her to be, like, a nasty woman. And they're in this rescuers club that is a work in progress because Bianca and Bernard currently are not in the save file, and they will come up at a later point in time. I will add them in, so we'll redo and rework some of the club here. But as it stands, they didn't fit in this world for many, many reasons. I think they actually live in New York City. So, Melvin, similar thing. Tough guy, criminal career, the fabulously wealthy aspiration. and he doesn't have a ton of skills either. They're both lowlifes. Like, let's be so honest. He doesn't even get along with Brutus and Nero. And Penny definitely does not either. She doesn't get along with anybody in this household, but especially Brutus and Nero and Madame Medusa. They don't have great relationships at all. But she wants to be a social butterfly. She wants to get out and make friends. She wants to have a family. If that could be like something for her or an aspiration that was an option, I would have definitely chosen it. And she's just like trying to make it through life. Ideally, she wouldn't even go to school, right? Because according to the movie, she doesn't. But that's up to you. You can do what you want with that. I will eventually make Penny's adoptive family. I will make more characters from the Rescuers. This is just focusing on the New Orleans, Louisiana side of the movie and not the New York side. So give me time when it comes to like more development for these characters and more things like that. But Madame Medusa does have Madame Medusa's pawn shop. And I put this in recently as a brand new build. It's a retail and it's a pawn and boutique retail. We will go there. I'm going to go there in build mode because honestly, we don't need all that. Trust me when I show it to you. And moving back to this neighborhood, that is over here. The one I showed you across from Eudora's home. This is Madame Medusa's pawn shop. It is a retail. You might be wondering why I didn't make it a small business, and I'll talk about it a little bit when we actually go into the lot. But to be honest with you, one of the reasons is I removed a Beauty and the Beast retail from this world. Like I mentioned at the beginning, I took all the Beauty and the Beast stuff out, and it's getting put in other locations, but that did mean that I took the retail out of this space, and it's one of few, if not the only at the time, retail in the Disney Save, so I felt like I needed to add one back in just for that reason. But also, this is a retail because when you sell things in a small business, they do not always replace, is my understanding. And so you have to like manually restock the shelves. And when you see the interior of this, you're going to know why that is not a easy thing to do. And I would not recommend playing it that way, but it's completely your choice, obviously. This on the bottom floor is her pawn shop. It's a cluttered, chaotic mess of honestly junk, and that was intentional. Like I wanted fake paintings, costume jewelry, fake swords, old books, dusty furniture, kids' craft projects, things that are stolen, things that are representations of the other films that take place in this world. Like we've got this in representation of Dumbo and some frogs around, I'm sure that I hid from Princess and the Frog, and that kind of an idea. So if you ran this as a small business, you'd have to like manually replace all the stuff. And let me tell you, it's not easy to build and get it all to sit flat. So I felt like that would be really annoying to play. I will say the reason I didn't want to go into live mode to show this off for you guys, it gets busy in here. And that is too bad because that's not the intention. I really wanted this to be a failing business for her and something that's not successful. People come in here and they don't want to buy stuff. But to be honest with you, there isn't really a great way to depict that. So you kind of just have to keep that as headcanon. She doesn't make a ton of money here. Otherwise, what would be her point in going through everything she does in her film? Other than, I guess there's different types of wealth, but you get what I mean. This back part is her office and where you would actually check out with the register. Although if you run it as a retail, you can check out on the floor and have Sims check out on the floor. And then in the movie, she very likely lives primarily in New York City, and she might even own the apartment above her boutique. It is depicted attached in a block style, so there's many buildings touching this one in the film, but I had to remove it from that chunk of buildings and then just put her apartment up here. So you could have her come here, stay here for a long time if you wanted to, never leave, run this place to the ground. It's just there for set dressing also, but at the same time, accuracy of like this type of building. And how boring would leaving it blank be? I feel like once upon a time in the Disney Save, there were certain spaces that, like this, I might leave it blank just to hold back on the items. And now I just decorate, whatever, man, you know? I want it to look good, and the empty, undecorated spaces never really looked that good. And I know that this is probably not a build that you're going to remember very well from the Rescuers, because they literally only show this from a flash, one moment, very briefly, but this is a movie recreation, and I pulled just this chunk and this front part of the building out of the Rescuers and did the best I could. And then Bianca and Bernard go all over the place in here, and they run all over the place, so you get to see so much of the interior here, and I did a really good job of recreating the floor plan, the layout, everything. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. that's it for the rescuers, but not it for the Disney save. Let's move on to the Dumbo neighborhood. In my version of Willow Creek, Foundry Cove is the Dumbo neighborhood. There is also some sprinklings of Disneyland here and a brand new Disney-ish themed lot. We will go there eventually, but we're going to start out with the Dumbo Circus household. This is a chaotic, crazy household. Just because, I guess, there's so much to do here and there's so much going on. There isn't a lot of characters, right? But you've got the toddler. That's a ton of work. We have all these animals. They are exotic animals. A horse. That's a lot of work. And then not only that, it has been updated to be a small business. So it's a small business residential. All of the characters that live here work here. And I have a lot to talk about with small businesses. We're going to get into it. We're going to go into live mode. I got to show you guys something because I'm going to be honest. I'm really struggling with small businesses and I'm going to show you why. First, I want to go through the household and through the characters that live here. And if you've never seen this household before, it's definitely one of my favorites that I've ever done. It's a circus, but everybody lives here. And previously, before we had small businesses, like there's a couple different ways that you could actually run this as a circus if you wanted to, but you also just don't have to. It can also just be a really, really strange residential. And primarily being over here, these are the tents that make up the actual bedrooms of the household. So this is Dumbo and I think her name is Jumbo's house, and they have a larger tent but still like not great accommodations, to be honest. This is Jumbo's bed, and then down here this is Dumbo's. He is a toddler, Dumbo, and I recently did update this particular tent with some of the circus like children's kit stuff in here, but honestly there isn't a ton of space to do like a whole lot of that, and I don't think, in my opinion, that Dumbo is he probably doesn't get looked after the best. And I don't mean by fault of her, because she's a working hard little girly. I just mean that everybody's so busy here that maybe he doesn't have the most space, the most toys, and the most attention all the time. And I think that just could be a part of the story. So I didn't give him like a ton of stuff. He's got toys though. Look at it. He's got the little dollhouse over here. He has this toy chest. And then I added this, which I don't think, it doesn't really actually do anything. And then they have their own bathroom in here with the children's little potty and a outdoor shower. Now, over here, this is Timothy's tent. He has a little mouse that's named Brother Rat. I cannot remember why I named the rat Brother Rat, but it is a reference to Dumbo. Someone remind me, please. And then this is Max Medici's tent. He is the ringmaster, the business owner, and this is their area. Then there's all sorts of little activities around, like Dumbo can go play in this little ball pit up front here. It's also for guests. This is the place where everybody can eat, so you can hire vendors here if you just click on them. Not with him because he doesn't have any money. Hire vendor, and then you can have them come and serve food. Here's a dunk tank. Obviously this doesn't function, but that's okay. It's still really cool for the aesthetics of it all. And maybe someday we'll get a circus pack. Wouldn't that just be so cool? And then over here, there's some darts, just some games to play, like things that you would definitely see and need for a circus, like things to do. Now back here is the zoo animals area. I originally had a lot of these doors locked, and to be honest with you, sometimes I do still lock them because it can get a little chaotic. The horse is currently locked in this area because this horse runs all over this lot, and it's just way, way, way too much. So, horse, zebra, he's currently locked in here, and he's living his best life. Trust me, he loves it. He's got his water, his food. There's a horseshoe game. There's a ball in here, a horse bed. It's not, like, ideally he has more space, right? But it's so much more playable when he's locked in here. Just an FYI, I would keep him locked. The lot also has an otter. The otter isn't locked, whereas because he comes in here and he plays on the ramps, and he plays over here on the little loopies, and then the lion and the cheetah, same thing. They love running around and playing with all sorts of stuff. So they're okay. But if you're looking at it logistically, this is for the otter with the pond, and he's got some stuff to lay in and like swim around and things. And then over here, this gated in area is for the cheetah and for the lion. This is where they live and sleep. And actually, this little cheetah loves it over here. He stays here all day. He sleeps. He loves it. And the main tent. This is the grand piece of it all. If you go up to the top level, oops, put the roof down, go up to the top level, you'll see that I did full little like trapeze scaffolding and tightrope walking and platforms and everything, made it look very much actually for real like a circus. Lots of seating. This is actually the lot's intended kitchen. There is a candy making station over here, and there's also a popcorn machine, but you can fully use this as a kitchen and just cook whatever you want, really. And I made this little popcorn machine. I changed this recently so it's not so ugly, because the other version that I made was not the most best looking thing I've ever done. I updated it. It looks nice, doesn't it? Now, here's the thing. Characters, I guess we'll go over the characters really quick. Max Medici wants to be a world famous celebrity. He owns the business here. This is the Medici Brothers Small Business Circus. And he is supposed to, problem number one, he is supposed to employ Jumba and Timothy Mouse. Now, there's a glitch right now that you're constantly dealing with this thing where you can't, your game will fire the people that you hire over and over again. By the time this video comes out, they may have patched this. But I keep getting this glitch here, so every time I load out of the slot and load back into the slot, these two don't have jobs because they get fired repeatedly from working at this circus. Very annoying, but nothing I can do about that. So every time you come in, you have to rehire them. Hopefully they fix that very, very soon. Now, I'm like scared to do this because I have so much to say about small businesses, but I'm going to open the small business. And then I'm calling all my simmers. I need your help here. This is very annoying and confusing to me. So actually, let me just set something up very quickly. Okay, basically what I did is I just put back in the employee tasks because every time that they get fired, I have to reassign these. So I just want to point out that Jumbo and Timothy work for the circus. These are their tasks. I tried to do things that are conducive with the circus, be funny, be kind. Jumbo cleans and is a little bit more about like cleaning and taking care of the animals. Timothy is a treat maker, and he also takes care of toddlers because a lot of the children come here and he's like an entertainer in that regard. So I'm just going to say it as we go into live mode. I don't like small businesses. I don't like the way they run. I find it really clunky and not working the way that I thought and think that it should work. And I'm going to explain why. And I'm looking for people to give advice, corrections. Like if I'm doing something wrong here, please tell me, because this is very annoying to me. So people come, and this is the little check-in counter. They pay. The way that I have this business set up, we'll check it out here, is that it is, not the financial overview, you pay when you come in, one-time entrance fee, $39. Very annoying that I can't just manually set it, by the way. And then they are supposed to come watch live entertainment, eat, horses play and learn, pets play and learn. That's so that the animals like kind of run around and play and everybody looks at them. And that's what we have as options right now for activities that make sense according to the circus. Who even knows what's going on there, first of all? So they all come, they queue up here, they pay. A lot of them stand here and don't do anything for a very, very long time. Nothing, in fact. Like you can see, this lovely Queen Eleanor from Brave has brought one of her children to the circus. She's paid. She's just going to stand there for a very, very long time and do none of those tasks that are listed. So eventually, hopefully, we're going to have Sims come in here, and they will eventually start doing some of the things, especially if I tell Timothy to like come in here and start doing a routine, right? Because that's something he's supposed to be doing. Now, why is it that my Sims that work here, like these three work here, but particularly Jumbo and Timothy, they work here, and they do not go around and do any of the small business tasks unless I tell them to? Like I have to click on everything manually and tell them, go make the treats, go clean this up, do the microphone, sing for the guests. Otherwise, they don't do anything. Is this because I have autonomy off that they're not doing this? Because there's nothing I can hit, and I guess what I'm looking for is potentially a button that's like from Max Medici to tell his staff, hey, Go do the thing that you're supposed to do according to working at this business. And it doesn't exist. It's not here. If you do small businesses, you can praise work, criticize work, uniforms, manage salary. There's nothing here that's like, go do your tasks. You can manage tasks, but that just opens this up. So why aren't they doing any of these things by default? Now, I totally think that this could be because I have autonomy set to off, but is that really what it is? I guess I should try it, right? Here, actually, you know what? We'll do it right now. Full. Autonomy full. Here we go. I don't think that this is going to make a difference. But so, they're not doing anything. Like, so here we've got Jumba. She's standing there. She's not cleaning or doing anything. I got to tell her, hey, clean this. Okay. Nobody comes and sits down. They will eventually start to trickle in here and like sit up here. Eventually, I have had some of the Sims like come and sit and watch when Timothy is like performing. But a lot of the times they just stand around. They stand here. They stand out front. See? Look at them all standing here just doing nothing. And I want to point out, very frustratingly so, if you have an open small business, you can't hire vendors. If I hire this vendor right now, no one's going to come. It will say, oh, we hired the small vendor. See the notification, we hired the service. No one's going to come. So that's just something to keep in mind if you're somebody who's building and you think that you're going to hire like a vendor on the small business lot. They don't show up. And they won't show up after. And you might say, why don't you try hiring them and then opening the small business? That does work, but they will eventually go away and then you can't rehire them. And that is not what I want. Like, I just want to run my circus here. So I guess what I'm saying is, I have a lot of questions. This doesn't function very well. I feel like we've got a lot of Sims standing around doing nothing. And then they want to eat food, which I get, but all they do is eat from this popcorn machine. And they eat and they make this popcorn and they put it everywhere. They put the trash all over the floor, which is like really honestly conducive of a circus, right? Like this place would be trashed afterwards. I totally get that. However, not really the point. Like, why is she standing there not making anything? Why doesn't she clean? Why doesn't she cook? Why do I have to tell her to go make treats? Why did the Sims not stand and actually watch the entertainment? It's just very weird. This whole thing is like, it doesn't work the way I thought it was going to work. But please give me advice, corrections, people I should watch. Like, how do I fix this? I'm trying to make this function a little bit better because honestly, after this experience, I am tempted to take the small business out of at least this lot. I just don't love it. But you guys, please tell me, please, your thoughts. We're going to go tour some other Dumbo things in this neighborhood. And actually, we're going to close the business and we're going to move along. But I'll take one of the Sims from this household and we'll go visit something next door. But I am going to show another small business that I have in this world later with similar-ish issues. So we will come back to this. I'm going to take Timothy next door to the Pink Elephant. This is a brand new bar. It's Dumbo circus theming. Ironically, it's armor night, which I've never gotten before. Okay. This is an extension of the circus and a way to just make it look more like we've got a lot going on. There's multiple tents. There's multiple things that have multiple purposes. And specifically, there's a scene called the Pink Elephant scene in Dumbo where some of the employees of the circus are having a little get together after circus hours in one of the tents, and they have a good time. So I was like, well, we could do that. We can have a good time. Sorry, I'm losing it. We are deep in this video. This is where I start to get goofy. And the Pink Elephant scene is so chaotic, glowy, colorful, and also kind of iconic. So having the bar be like themed after that and having it be this circusy mess is really fun. And just a lively little lot where specifically, if they wanted to, my circus staff can come hang out afterwards, get a drink, hang out at the bar. You could turn this into a nightclub too. It's got a dance floor. It's got everything that you would need for that. And yeah, it's glowy. It's supposed to be a little bit of a trip if you catch my drift. Bubble blower in here. Got some balls, some balloons, all that good stuff. New lot. Not a ton to say, to be honest with you, but very colorful and I'm very excited about it. The second tent over here is 2 additional bathrooms and you will see some of the little pieces from that circus kit. decorating around. Unfortunately, that pack is very much catered to children. It's a children's kit, so it's not super useful when it comes to my Dumbo lots, but the Party Essentials kit is, and I've gone back into my Dumbo lots and decorated all sorts with the Party Essentials and the balloons and all sorts of stuff like that. It was very, very helpful for that. I also will jump over, we'll go straight over, I'm not going to go back to the overhead map, but across the way, over here, the other Dumbo themed lot in this neighborhood, the Casey Jr. train. This is the train that like literally carries the animals, and it is a lounge. So let's go over there. I don't believe I have ever shown this lot off in live mode. I probably have skipped it for every single tour video. This is a lounge, and the idea is that every single one of the carts is themed after a particular animal, maybe the animal that they were carrying, used to be carrying in a former life of the train, and also is themed like musically in regards to maybe a particular furniture item that the Sims can use for music. So this one has the record player and it is tiger themed. This one is the bathroom. I had to have the bathroom, and it is mildly elephant themed. This one has the grand piano and it is zebra themed. And then the last one has this, what is this called? A jukebox? And it's leopard cheetah themed. And then back here, this is the giraffe house. This is where if you were at the circus, like all of the giraffes would be kept when they're sleeping at night. But you can come in here and actually enjoy the lounge, but also view the giraffes. And I know the giraffes are not real, and they don't move, and I'm so sorry. I wish we had a different game with, like, exotic animals that I could make that become a reality for you guys, but this is the best I can do with the situation. And I still think it's pretty darn cute. Like, there's little baby ones in here, and little rainbow ones, and then the actual bar is back here. You come, sit, have a drink, enjoy the very unique nature of this lot, the train, the giraffe house, the extension of the circus itself. I also have a little llama house over here. They're sitting in, they're a little big. Like, a suspension of disbelief aside, they're a little bit big. There's some baby ones in there, and they've got their hay. And yeah, it's just, I love animals. I love being able to include animals in the save file in that regard. It's not always easy. We have limited choices with statues and things, but we are in the late stages of the video. Thank you guys so much for staying this far. If you are here, I hope you've been enjoying everything so far. I'm going to be transitioning to Disneyland themed things with the last two builds in this neighborhood, as well as this one on the corner over here. And then these final three lots are a little bit of a mixed group of the things that we have in this neighborhood already. But we'll be visiting next up the Disney Archives. This is the world's newest library, and I pulled an old lot out of this world that was Beauty and the Beast themed called the Fallen Rose that used to be a library. I think that lot is getting moved to somewhere else in the save file. I haven't done it as of me doing today's video, so I can't tell you exactly where it's going, to be honest, but this world needed a new library. Like, how crazy for me to take the library out and then not put a new one in. And it took me a really long time to come up with what I was going to do in regards to a library, like what theming, what can I base it after, what should I use, and I ended up coming out with this. This is one of my favorite pieces in the entire world, called the Disney Archives. The Disney Archives is based after the Disney Animation Research Library, and it is a place that exists in real life that houses millions of pieces of original Disney concept art. The building itself is on Disney property in California, but it's underground, so there wasn't anything to base the outside on. So I ended up basing the outside on Disneyland Paris. This is one of their show buildings. You can go in and see a little performance in this building. So this would be in the Walt Disney Studios park if you've ever been to the Paris parks. And when you go there, it's the building that has the giant Sorcerer Mickey hat out front, but there is like a Peter Pan swirling statue around the hat. So I remade it into a mini little library. There are custom pieces of artwork in here from actual Disney concept artists. I'm going to be able to show you guys and name a few of them depending on where they're located. I did so much research for this library. I did a ton of exposition as far as the artists go, the background, the history, and all that good stuff. Please check out this speed build if you want to know more. It is one of the more modern looking builds for my entire Willow Creek, because it is kind of an everyday library, and it's 3 floors. The bottom floor down here is supposed to be more office-y, and also maybe for the artists themselves. Like if you think about this housing in a library format, so many original pieces of artwork, the artists that work for Disney would love to be able to come and reference that. And so they might come down here, do some painting. There's some fresh paintings over here that are drying on the drying rack. And there's also this drying rack from one of the kits that you might have some pieces on. And then there's also these office spaces that you can use for various things. Maybe do some meetings, maybe have a private little room that you want to do some painting in. And I can show you this room, this office back here, with these couple of pieces on the wall. These are by Claire Keane. Hopefully I'm saying her last name correctly. These pieces over here are Ivan Earl. He is famous for these background landscape paintings from specifically more like Sleeping Beauty, but also look at this concept art from Lady and the Tramp. How cool is this? But yes, obviously Sleeping Beauty. And then this is Joe Grant. I absolutely fell in love with these pieces, and these were just no-brainers. No-brainers, they're so cool. There's also some additional like stray artwork pieces down here, particularly from my favorite movies, Little Mermaid. Aladdin is over here on the wall, and Hercules, Toy Story, some of my personal faves, to be honest. Little Fantasmic inspired Mickey and Friends themed bathroom. And upstairs, there's so much up here. Not only are there multiple pieces from Mary Blair, one of Walt Disney's personal favorite artists and one of my personal favorite artists, but I also, in one of the buildings that I was researching, found this beautiful rainbow poster wall that had all these scenes from the different Disney movies that they did in this like big rainbow, and it was so pretty, and I really wanted to recreate that in some way. So I have that here on this featured wall here, as well as lots of Mary Blair. There is some Mary Blair Peter Pan over here. And I think on this wall too, yep. And then she's also famous for Alice in Wonderland and Cinderella. I've seen a lot of her pieces in person. Very, very, very cool. And this is my nod. So this is something that's exclusive to the save file. You can't do custom paintings anymore without the game marking it as CC, even though it is not CC. You do not need an external file for these to show up. They are painted from reference, but the game flags them as custom content. There used to be a way to do them without the game flagging it as custom content, and that doesn't exist anymore. So when you download the save, if you get any kind of notification that you're missing a pack or something in the save is missing, you're not missing anything. If you have all of the packs, you're not missing anything. This is just the game's way of flagging that there was quote unquote custom content used when making that particular lot. That isn't true. It's not custom content. If you download that build off of the gallery, it's not going to be the same version. It's not going to come with the custom paintings. And that's something that I'm unfortunately going to have to implement from here on out because The Sims took that out. If I do want to make custom paintings here and there, I might just have to, unfortunately, do it that way. The CC version is in, or it's not really CC. Like, I can't make that any more clear. There's no custom content in this save file, but the game's CC is in my save file, and then on the gallery is the not CC version where I take those paintings out. And it's still a really nice lot if you don't use the version in the Disney save, but not the same. And at the end of the neighborhood, 21 Royal, this is a vacation rental that you can rent out, use as a little Airbnb type situation. You also could just change it to a residential if you're looking for more residentials. It is Disneyland themed because it's actually a building recreation from Disneyland. This is a part of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, as well as like it's sort of sitting above the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. But what it was, at one point it was being created as an apartment or home for Walt Disney. And now you can do an exclusive dining experience there that's very expensive and has like 5-star chefs and all sorts of crazy, or Michelin star chefs and all sorts of stuff like that. I believe it's Michelin star. And so most people don't ever get to really go up into this part of the building, but it is now created as kind of like a faux secondary home of Walt Disney. And the idea being that you could come stay here and like, you know, live as Walt Disney did. Very elegant, I guess Victorian inspired. Lots of gold, lots of trimming, lots of... It's just decadent. It's elegance. It's so incredibly unnecessary in the most beautiful kind of way. And I believe it's a 2-bedroom. Yep, this one down here is the primary master bedroom. Do the half wall situation since we've got some tight quarters in here. It's an older home, and it's also Disneyland. So you have to think about, it might not be the largest spaces. Little extra bedroom over here. There is a seating room in here. This build was recently updated, especially with the sanctuary kit, secret sanctuary kit. And I'm sure others. Large dining area. Simple kitchen. Gets the job done. Cute little vacation rental. If you download this off the gallery, it's going to pop up as a residential. I don't know why. That's like a little glitch for the gallery, unfortunately. And this is the lot earlier that I was mentioning. If you want to get to the secret lot in this world, if you didn't know, over here, this tree, interact with this tree and you will eventually get to this secret lot, which I have also decorated with something new. Well, it's not new. It's not new. It's been in the save file for a very long time, but it is Disney themed and redone nonetheless. And the final neighborhood down here, I think this is Crawdad Quarter, like this strip here would be considered a part of that. I'm going to go through these a little bit quicker. They have not received as many changes as the rest of the world, and so if you go back and look at some of my other tour videos, they are going to get featured probably a little bit more heavy. But like I mentioned, I have another small business in this world, and it is run by Dr. Facilier. So we'll go and check that out with him, and I'll show you guys again some of the stuff that I was talking about and very, very frustrated about that you can see even better, honestly, on his lot, and a new one at the end. Now, with the Disneyland theming, this is New Orleans Square. This is actually like a chunk of Disneyland, and it is many locations that are Disneyland based. There's all sorts of stuff here. There is a shout out to the Blue Bayou, which is a very famous restaurant in Disneyland that features the Pirates of the Caribbean ride kind of going through it. Royal Street Sweets, I think similar-ish version of, what would it be, like the Main Street Confectionery in Magic Kingdom? And then Madame Leota's Memento Mori's, which I think is the Haunted Mansion store. It's been a really long time since I did the research for this, but that was the idea, was to make like this little nook that had all these little restaurants and places and businesses. And what's cool about this lot, you can change the lot type and it still functions. So it's set up to be all sorts of different things. I know I keep showing so much of the save file off at night right now, but there's just so much nightlife to Willow Creek. Look how pretty this is. It's so glowy in the best ways. And it has received some minor updates recently. There was some in the small businesses kit, the businesses and hobbies. There were some treats that were added in, so I added those into one of the stores. But just a quick rundown, very quick. By default, this is set as a bar. You can change it to a restaurant. I'll show. You can change it to a retail. And the retail will still function. You can obviously pick the space that you want that to be. You can do it as a restaurant. And the intended space for the restaurant is this one up here. The intended space for the retail would be this building, or over here in the back, there is a sweets shop. You could possibly run this as a retail as well, although you'd have to make some minor changes. And by default, it's a bar. And I like it as a bar because the bar is Club 33. Now, it's hard to find pictures of inside Club 33, so I'm not claiming that this is like a perfect recreation of it, but I did find some photos and references, and this is what I came up with. This building, as well as the upstairs, all of this, and there's a bathroom attached to that. And then if you go out onto this balcony here, there's like a double door situation. So through here, there's more area for the bar, more seating, walk through here, little gambling room in the back, some games, some foosball, another fireplace, whatever you want to do. There is lots to do here. So the bar actually does take up most of it. However, just to go back through the buildings, this front one here is Memento Mori. And it's a double floor retail spellcaster, occult goodies, anything that they would need. So you could do like all sorts of stuff, like mark all these for sale and run it as a little retail. everything from werewolves, spellcasters, crystal creations. Maybe I'll come back and do a little bit of updating with fairies, obviously, little things that they get here also. And you could come in here and use the seance table. So I still wanted to give a lot of the buildings multi-purpose uses so that they're not just set dressing. So for this, obviously, you would come in here and use it for that, for the seance table. The Blue Bayou is this building over here. And this I would not say is like necessarily a recreation of the Blue Bayou, because the Pirates of the Caribbean ride runs through the building and it has this whole like water section and everything. So I didn't do any of that in here, but the decor, the blue glow, the color scheming, I did borrow some of. And you would have to do your own menu and your own uniforms in order to get it to all run, but it's there. This little blue and pink building down here is the sweet shop, and you can come in here and get candy. And like I said, I updated it recently with, sorry, go back down, some of the new treats. Look at the little new cotton candies and stuff to put in the, this is the candy showcase too. And all the little lollipops on display up here. There are some in the window over here. It's nice to actually have these treats available. There's some sodas, some bowls of candy, some candy rocks, some vending machines. That would be like one of the uses for this place other than what you could do for the second intention. I also included a museum over here. It's just, you know, a museum. It's generic. It's not necessarily like super Disney themed in any regard. It's a way to fill up this building. And if you wanted to, although I can't imagine most people do this, you could change this lot type to a museum and it would work that way too. Next door. Something a little bit different in comparison to older versions of Willow Creek. I actually flip-flopped these two lots. This is Southern Dreams. This is the actual museum for this world. And this is Other Side Nightclub that is now a business residential. So they used to sit opposite of one another, but this lot over here is a cemetery and has a lot to do with Dr. Facilier's character, and it makes more sense to pair the last two Princess and the Frog builds right next to one another. So Southern Dreams, quickly. It did actually receive quite a bit of changes, so it's worth showing off really quick. This museum features history from all of the Disney movies that take place here. And I guess Louisiana in general and like Southern culture in general. But there's so much history in the South of America. There's so much to do with cuisine and history of music, in particular like jazz music, things like that, that it would almost not make sense to not do a museum in this world. And so what I did is there's little displays that are like sprinklings of either a movie that is featured in this world, so some kind of like Disney memorabilia or Disney display, and then there are also some that are just shout outs to the general culture of the area. And it's a very traditionally set up museum. The building itself is based on any general like older style or traditional style Louisiana architecture building. I did this building way back when, but I loved the style so much, and it is reminiscent of like a lot of the other things that I've built in this world, so it makes sense to have something that's like standardly Louisiana building and then have the museum with all of the history and culture inside of it. This little display here is actually in reference to the rescuers, and this is the diamond that Madame Medusa makes Penny dig out of. I think it's a mine in the movie, but I did a well. And if we go, is it over here? No, I think we gotta go, whoa, we gotta go upstairs. This display is the Maldonia display. So this is Prince Naveen's kingdom and some of the history and culture that he would bring into the area just from moving here and like changing the history essentially of the area. This is some frogs and a little display for our prince and princess of this world. And, oh, I added a bar. Look at this bar. How cute is this? I think this is from the Secret Sanctuary kit. You could get a little glass of wine and walk around the museum. How nice would that be? Eli Labuff, he is very big and important to this world, clearly. Some fish, some like fish and aquatic life from the area. And then some references to jazz and some references to local art and local, you know, like movies and film that are made in the area, that type of a thing. And this did receive some minor updates, so it was worth popping in. Now we're moving on to my small business, the next one. Okay, first, a rundown of the building and where are we? Of the building and of the character before we get into the small business. So this was originally built as a nightclub, but I always intended for Dr. Facilier to be able to live here. And so this building on the left is now his actual home, which is very cool. And I definitely would love to keep it this way. I feel like it looks so good. And he lives over here in this little building on the left. Look at his little home, all spellcaster, spooky, lots of skulls around. He is a voodoo king. He is tarot card king. He does the seances. He does it all. He would be such a fun spellcaster to play with. He's very fleshed out. He's got a lot of stuff in his little spellcaster book. I'll show you guys in a moment. It does have an upstairs. This is where his bedroom actually is. And then his bathroom. And next door, going down, this is Other Side Nightclub. It's supposed to be an occult-based nightclub, particularly for spellcasters, but any occults really. And the idea is that anybody could come here, but if you are a spellcaster, these rooms in the back might have a little bit more use for you. Can come and do and tamper with some of the stuff from Life and Death, this new tarot card book and the seance table. And there is a hut or a vendor station back here that you can hire, and then you could purchase wands. I believe this sells maybe even brooms. And upstairs is where the actual nightclub is. This is the bar area. Very eclectic, very fun. I love this place. It's one of my original builds, and I wouldn't change it. The dance floor, bathrooms. There's one more floor. This place is massive. You see it all. You get it. Okay. Dr. Facilier is a spellcaster. He wants to be famous though, like rich and famous. He wants specifically a mansion baron, so he wants Big Daddy Labuff's mansion, and he is in the psychic medium career. He is pretty like low skill, but high skill for medium work. And he has his own tarot card set. Let me see if it's in his inventory. I don't know where he put it. I gave him someone suggested give him the nice tarot card deck. I did. I don't know where he set it down, but he has it somewhere. And he has one of the newer traits. Is this macabre? Is that how you say that? Makes him a little spooky, creepy. Spellcaster. He's got his whole table all done. He's a pretty strong spellcaster. Like, he's a force to be reckoned with, unfortunately for everyone else. And some of the spells unlocked. I tend to keep spells locked that I feel like are going to be annoying or don't make sense for the character. Like, he doesn't have a ton of potions, if any at all. Okay, he's got 2. Maybe even 1 on me. Yeah, he's got 3. So that's him. Now, when this was a nightclub, it functioned as a nightclub. It functioned really well. Sims come, they dance, they get drinks, nightclub. Now, it is his small business, Other Side, and we'll go ahead and manage the business here. Sims are supposed to come and dance, listen to music, drink bar drinks, do seances, and cast spells, obviously because it's supposed to be a occult nightclub. And so I have the target customers as occults, but you can be a human and still come here, and all of that is really great. There's an entrance fee. Everything looks like it's doing great here. He is the only employee. Okay, so he runs and operates this by himself, and he is set up to tend the bar, offer tarot readings, I think this is pranks, mischief, yeah, cast spells, and then he can mentor people. Like, imagine they come here and they want some kind of help with readings or seances or magical help of some kind. So I'm gonna open the business, okay? And you're gonna see the immediate issue that I have here. And I will say a little bit of this is probably that he is the only one that works here, and I totally get that. That's not really the problem here. The problem is going to be as Sims hopefully start to arrive here. Okay, he goes off to tend the bar. That's great. That's what he's supposed to be doing. So he goes up here and he tends the bar, but everybody who shows up is going to come and pretty much just stand in this lobby. And I don't know if it's maybe that my buildings are too big, and I need to, in the future, keep that in mind when I'm building for small businesses. We're having some people populate over here. This is Maleficent, and this is Jafar. So this is exciting. they're going to come in here and they're going to do like magic in this area, and they're not going to do anything else. They never go upstairs and use the bar. A couple of them have, I shouldn't say never. But they certainly, like, never once have I had a sim come upstairs and actually dance on the dance floor. And I think that's my big issue, because if this place was actually a nightclub, you would see sims coming in here to dance and to play and do like nightclub activities. But when they come here, all they do is stand here in the lobby and autonomously do casting of spells, and then pretty much nothing else. So let's follow some sims around, actually, because I want to like show it. I want to prove my point. And see. Okay, well, Maleficent immediately proved me wrong. But I'm telling you, this is like the furthest that they ever get. No one ever goes over here and actually listens to the music. The music's on, before anyone questions if that's why. Most of them are just going to stay right here. This is Aphrodite. She's staying here and doing pretty much nothing. This, oh, disruptive customer. Very nice. Kenai is a werewolf. He's standing here and doing pretty much nothing. Where do we got everyone else? Oh, they do come back here and use this, which is cool, but that's a part of the tasks. And honestly, another thing, maybe somebody can let me know what's going on. They keep lighting stuff on fire back here. Is that because of this? Does the seance table light things on fire? I have never had this occur on any other lot, but this lot was constantly catching on fire recently, and it was only after I made it a small business that it started to become a problem. Oh my god, they're dancing! Okay, wait. I spoke too soon. I should shut up. Listen, no, this is great news. Maybe it was the autonomy thing. Maybe because the other lot I didn't have autonomy on, and then I switched it didn't actually work until we got here. But I think at the end of the day, my issue with it is that even though this is a nightclub, if it was actually listed as a nightclub, there would be like triple the sims here. Like, where are all the sims? Why is there no one here? Is this normal for the small businesses that you've played with? If this was a small business, or sorry, if this was a nightclub, because I've played it as such, there would be so many sims here. And I just feel like no one comes here. And when they do, they stand around half the time. Like, it takes forever. And now they're all up here completely proving me wrong. But you catch my drift. Like, I've been having some issues with these, and let me know if you feel the same about small businesses. Let me know if you have any tips or tricks, if you feel like I'm doing something a little bit funky, if you feel like there's something I can do to like help this situation, because I feel like there's just a lot of standing around. And when you do like a retail, a restaurant, a nightclub, one of the other dedicated lot types in the game, it does not do that. There's not so much standing around. Moral of the story is, if I can't get small businesses to run a little bit better, I'm not going to use them a whole ton in my save file, because I don't like it. I think that it's boring. Like, this should be so lively, and there used to be so much going on here, and now it's just a lot of standing around. Okay, that's it for Dr. Facilier. He's been featured in so many other tours. He's in the Princess and the Frog Club. He's got a ton of enemies. Pretty much the only one he likes is Lawrence. And I have a brand new lot to show off. So we'll go visit. We'll go visit with him. He's going to have to close. Oh, he didn't close the small business. We're just going right over. This is my newest lot and my first cemetery for the Disney save. Lafayette Cemetery number 1. This is both a movie recreation and also something that exists in real life. Like, that's an actual cemetery in New Orleans that you can go to. I did not use the real one as reference. It's all based off of the movie. And this place is really cool, I think, because it features all these above ground tombs, and each of them is decorated and curated after like a sim that could potentially be resting here. They're mostly like, I guess you would say empty, in that I didn't program individual sims to like be a part of each one of them, but you could. I mostly left it open because I felt like it would be something that people would want to customize, just to take a look inside some of them. Some of them are more magic based. Like, this one has this little spiritual wishing station that you get from Mount Komorebi. This is a portal to the spirit, no, not the spirit realm, the realm of magic realm. And there's like a book in here, and there's things in here. So it's more magic, more places that you can go to like connect with the spirits. Dr. Facilier does that multiple times in the movie. So I wanted like a place that he could come and have a way to contact the other side. This one as well, with the little spectral ghosts in here. But then some of them are just tombs. And this one is for, obviously, a vampire. These are empty. You can come sleep in them. Although, funny, if I have him come sleep in this one over here, I hit a skull in here. It's very funny when it opens. I'm just going to show it. Look, get ready. Are you watching? See the skull? Kind of funny. Okay, we'll have him go here, actually. I don't want him to go to sleep. This corner over here, sorry about the camera, is gated off as its own section. And so I imagine that this is some area that a very influential family has purchased, and all the tombs are similarly decorated. I think the same coffin in both of these, as well as this one, with some statues and things. And then there's more pops of magic around. You can use it, you also don't have to, right? Then there is this beautiful statue in the center here as like the focal point. And these are called in the game, I think, crypts. Yeah, explore the underground crypts. I haven't played too much with these. I think there's somewhere you can go or something you can do with them. But they're here. There's a couple of them. There's also some headstone areas and some that are like dedicated and decorated in that way. This portal is a portal to the Nether realm. Is that what it's called? And you can use that to go to that special realm in the Ravenwood world. So, little touch of magic, obviously traditional, awkward encounter, obviously traditional look here as far as the graveyard goes, but very unique in regards to the above ground tombstones, or the above ground tombs, which I was very, very excited about. There is also this area up front here that is the different version of that, I guess you could say. And I think, which I didn't know this, but oh my god, so everybody's dirty. Why is everyone filthy? There is a gravekeeper for these. I can't see him around. But I didn't know that. There's a new NPC role. This might even be him. Yep, Cemetery Keeper. How cool is that? And that's going to be really cool for some things that I have coming up in Forgotten Hollow. Little sneak peeks there. That's going to work out really well over there. And that is Willow Creek for the Disney save. Final version. Some updates to come as far as little decor in the future. I am so happy with how this world turned out. I hope that you guys love it as much as I do. There are no replacement lots for Willow Creek. There are no bonus sims. I showed you guys the townies earlier, so really that's it. Just a couple of last minute reminders. If you want any of the builds from today, they are available on the gallery, and my gallery ID is TomilynYT. If you want to download the entire version of the Disney save with this world, as well as all of the other ones that I've ever done, Oasis Springs, Forgotten Hollow, there's so much more. I think I've done 9 worlds total for the Disney save. It's going to be linked down below. The link will take you to my Patreon, but you do not have to be a patron in order to download. However, it's really important to note that this is an all packs save file, and it's CC and mod free, but it's very big, and you probably need a pretty decent computer to run it, unfortunately. If you're interested in becoming a patron, my patrons get early works in progress by a long shot. I have a private Discord. They help me with a lot of planning. They get access to a private Google Doc that has tons of character stats on all the characters in the Disney save. They get to vote in polls. They get to pick my worlds most of the time, and they are a huge, huge, huge part in everything that I do here and help significantly in creating this process and making it really become what it is. So if you want to be a part of that, check out my Patreon. I have different options down below. There are speed builds and create sims and more tour videos for everything that you saw today. Check that out in the Disney Save playlist, linked on my main YouTube channel, as well as, again, down below. Let me know your thoughts. Any thoughts with small businesses? Any tips and tricks? Please, down below. Your favorites in the world, your favorite changes. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next speed build, which is going to be over in Little Miss Forgotten Hollow over here. Say goodbye to Forgotten Hollow as it stands. It's also getting renovated. Pretty much all of it is getting changed. Lots to come. See you then.